Like I just read through the box here, I guess I'll just go through this memo that I prepared.
Sure.
And that should kind of bring you up to speed in what I'm asking of you. So this is, subject is tampering with and removal of court audio recordings by Anacortes court officials, prosecutorial misconduct, and retaliatory cover-up. Introduction. I am submitting this memorandum to report suspected criminal misconduct by public officials in Anacortes, Washington, including officers of the court, the municipal court administrator, and a former public defender. These officials engaged in unlawful tampering with and removal of court audio recordings, which makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. Suppression of exculpatory evidence and a pattern of retaliatory and conspiratorial behavior designed to obstruct my access to justice and cover up due process violations in violation of federal law. Background. On February 27, 2024, I was involved in an incident where Anacortes police officers conducted a prolonged, warrantless knock and talk at my girlfriend's apartment in Unit 11 at Bayside Apartments. The officers surrounded the residence for over 2 hours, shining flashlights into windows, including into the bedroom of a terrified 9-year-old child. I later discovered this was triggered by a malicious 911 call from a stalking neighbor and followed by a fabricated obstruction charge as a retaliation for asserting my rights. Court record tampering and audio removal. In court proceedings that followed, on October 24, 2024, after I had terminated Public Defender Crystal Chappell, she appeared anyway and stated on the record that she would fill out and submit a continuance form on my behalf, despite my clear objection and refusal to sign. Commissioner Sarah Hain accepted the continuance and stated there was good cause, despite the lack of a valid motion or my consent. I later reviewed the public court audio from that hearing and found critical parts were missing, altered, or did not match my personal recordings that I made on my iPhone that day in court. I reported these discrepancies to the Anacortes Municipal Court Administrator, Becky Welch, providing specific details and timing of the inconsistencies. Shortly afterward, all public access to court records or audio recordings was abruptly disabled, and the city canceled its AV Capture-All subscription, the platform used to record and distribute court hearings. These actions destroyed or removed digital evidence directly relevant to my legal defense, my 1983 complaint, and my WSBA grievance. This is textbook evidence tampering, and under 18 U.S.C. subsection 1512C, destruction, alteration, or concealment of a record, and potentially subsection 1519, falsifying or covering up documents with intent to obstruct. Prosecutorial misconduct, Crystal Chappell. At the time of October 24th, 2024 hearing, Crystal Chappell had already accepted employment as a prosecutor in a neighboring jurisdiction. She acted on my case after her formal withdrawal and over my express objections, knowingly submitting legal documents to the court. She later lied to the Washington State Bar Association, claiming she was not involved and that there was no conflict or misconduct. The WSBA dismissed the grievance despite strong documentary evidence, including transcripts and audio, now tampered with or deleted, proving her ongoing influence and deception. Her actions constitute fraud on the court, unauthorized practice, and false statements to a regulatory agency under 18 U.S.C. subsection 1001. Conclusion and retaliatory cover-up. Additional facts strongly support the conclusion that this is not isolated misconduct, but a coordinated effort to suppress legal accountability. After I began documenting discrepancies, the city of Anacortes removed all AV Capture-All court recordings, including historical ones, from public access. And when I spoke with the representative, he said that they canceled and said they were having some issues, but when he asked specifically what those issues were, quote, she was unresponsive. And I asked him if that's ever happened before, if, it's unusual. He said highly unusual, and especially after they've had a long-standing contract with Anacortes Municipal Court. And and I asked him if anybody else has ever called and inquired about court record tampering, and he said no, but some of his customers have called and inquired about tampering with the records. And I joked, just asking for a friend. So anyway, after I began documenting discrepancies, the city of Anacortes removed all AV Capture-All court recordings, including historical ones, from public access. Court staff and the municipal prosecutor exchanged emails indicating concerns that I was, quote, emboldened after one charge was dismissed, evidencing retaliatory motive. Commissioner Haynes' own comment, quote, not thrilled about this, it may just embolden him, end quote, shows bias and possible coordination to prevent exposure of police and court misconduct. Legal framework for FBI investigation. The conduct described above may violate the following federal statutes. 18 U.S.C. subsection 1512C, tampering with a record, document, or other object with intent to impair its integrity for use in an official proceeding. 18 U.S.C. subsection 1505, obstruction of administrative or judicial proceedings. 18 U.S.C. subsection 241, conspiracy against rights. 18 U.S.C. subsection 371, general criminal conspiracy statute. 18 U.S.C. subsection 1001, false statements to a federal regulatory body, the WSBA. 42 U.S.C. 1983 and 1985, civil conspiracy to deprive rights under color of law. Request for action. I respectfully request that the FBI open a public corruption or civil rights investigation into 1. The intentional removal and alteration of official court audio records or recordings by Anacortes Municipal Court personnel. 2. Unauthorized legal actions and false statements by Crystal Chappell. 3. Judicial and administrative retaliation against a pro se litigant asserting constitutional rights. 4. Evidence suppression and conspiracy among city officials to prevent legal accountability. Supporting evidence available upon request. Personal copies of original court audio before removal. Court hearings, dates, filings, and docket entries. The WSBA grievance records in response. Emails and communications from officials, quotes, documents, affidavits and declarations filed in the Western District of Washington, and also witnesses who have also observed court irregularities. And that's the gist of it, to kind of give you in a nutshell. But there's lots of evidence and details. And
got it. Well, I really appreciate you laying everything out the way you did. I can tell you spent a lot of time on it and done your research, just so I can make sure I understand everything. So it sounds like the original incident happened back at your apartment when the police got a 911 call from your neighbor, and they show up, they knocked and talked with you, and then what did they come into the house? What happened there on the first day?
So we ignored their knocking.
Okay.
Right? And the courts have long held that there's an implied license, if you have an entryway and a door and all that they can come, if they want to investigate a crime per se, they can knock on the door and request to speak with you.
Right.
But at any time, you can revoke that license, ask them to leave or whatever, in which they would need exigent circumstances, probable cause, or a warrant, which they had none of those.
Okay.
And they're not covered by qualified immunity when they go outside of these bounds and they turn consensual encounters into coercive ones, which they did. They once they, after they looked through the windows multiple times and the kid came running out of his bedroom crying and freaking out, that's when I went to the door and talked to him through the door, said, look, get out of here. You guys are being creeps looking through the windows and stuff.
Okay.
So we just want to talk. No thanks, not interested. Well, why are you being like this, man? I'm just walking within my rights. They're like, no, you're not. You committed a traffic infraction in front of this officer. You have to come out here and let him finish. And I was like, okay, this doesn't make any sense. And I was like, I don't understand. I wasn't in a traffic stop. I wasn't pulled over. There was an officer there waiting in the parking lot when I pulled in and parked. He didn't turn his lights on. He didn't initiate anything.
This all happened like
on
they
the
were
27th.
Already there and you showed up?
Yeah, because the crazy lady
called. So they were there for the call.
Yeah, because
and then while the police were there, you showed up.
Yeah, because she said I was drunk and high riding my unplated motorcycle up and down 24th Street, which wasn't true. I rode my unplated motorcycle that I'd recently purchased to go pick up a food order for us. And when I came back, that police car was in the parking lot already facing the entrance, and I came in and I parked in an available spot like that.
Okay.
Casually got off. He didn't turn on his lights or anything like that. He got out of his patrol car, came over to the sidewalk as I was up onto the sidewalk. And I, as I'm taking off my helmet, I hear, hey, boss, can I talk to you for a sec? Hey, boss, can you come talk to me? And as I'm walking, I took pause and I, took off my helmet and I raised my eyebrow and I looked at him and I was like, whatever. And I just kept walking.
Okay.
Gotcha. Slowly. I didn't run. I didn't, this and that.
So then you go in the apartment.
He didn't say another word. He didn't say, hey, stop, or nothing. He was like,
Gotcha. So then you go to the apartment.
So I go inside.
They come and
we start talking, and then minutes go by, and then there's a knock at the door. We each took turns looking through the people, and we're like, what does he want? I don't know. Okay. What does he want? Let's just wait till it goes away.
Got it.
And then, as it started escalating, we were honestly, scared to open the door. I mean, they had how many officers there? 6 or 7?
And when they looked in the back window, he saw my, I carry a concealed, permitted gun, that was covered by my coat when I was outside, but now I don't have my jacket on. It's a little compact on a, over the waistband holster.
Yeah, we just could really easily envision it escalating.
Okay, gotcha. So then you guys didn't come inside ever. They just...
No, but they by violating the curtilage and going to the back window, shining lights in through that, according to the Constitution and stuff and its protections, that's just as bad as if they were to make entry. Okay. It constitutes an unlawful, search under the Fourth Amendment.
Gotcha. I'm up to speed on that. So then how did this end up in court? Did you
so then they said what you have to come out here and let him finish, and I was like, I don't understand. It wasn't in a traffic stop, this and that. He didn't give me any lawful orders or address me by name. And this is the sergeant now who showed up, who should be telling them, hey guys, we gotta maybe give him a warning or back off. We gotta uphold the Constitution and protect their rights, right? No, he was like, fuck it, let's go look in the back windows. And he was the one who yelled at the kid, and so when I asserted my rights and then questioned, this doesn't make any sense. Mm-hmm. Over a motorcycle that doesn't have a plate in there, that's a traffic infraction. It's not a crime. So they don't even have a leg to stand on to come investigate or this or that. It's not even a crime.
Yeah, so
it's a
whole
traffic infraction.
Was on lockdown for a couple hours.
The whole police station's there on a school night.
People thought that somebody got killed or something.
Or there was going to be a shootout or something. People. One quote I heard from a neighbor was, "Are bullets going to start flying through our walls?" We didn't know.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so it was from was it 7?
9 p.m. to 11 p.m.
Yeah, on a school night, shining lights into my son's room when he's trying to sleep for school the next day.
Okay. So how? From there.
So then he's like, "You got to come out here and let him finish." And I said, "I don't understand." Blah 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 blah. And he goes, "I'm like, this is over a motorcycle without a plate and a traffic infraction? Okay, well, do you want my mailing address? No, you have to come out here and let him finish." And I was like, dude, this is suspect, right? You guys are already breaking the law and this and that. I don't trust them. I don't want to go out there. We're talking here through the door. And now that I can't give you my mailing address for a traffic infraction, no, I'm sorry. I'm not giving up my rights. I'm not stepping outside to talk. And I asked them to leave. I told them to leave. And then they refused. And then that's when he turned a consensual encounter, right? Hey, we just want to talk. To, you can make this a lot worse for yourself. You could be charged with obstruction.
Okay.
And I said, go right ahead. Because I knew that they were acting outside of the law. And then so sure enough, later on I got in traffic infractions. One for not having a plate on the motorcycle. Second one for no motorcycle endorsement on my license. How did we get to that point?
Got it. Okay.
If there was never a traffic stop or anything like that, I think that's kind of violating due process.
Charges
via mail at and I live in Squim.
Okay.
But they were able to look me up into the system and stuff.
And they sent you those infractions in the mail.
And then also a criminal obstruction charge, and that's when I asked for the public defender and stuff, who refused to file any motions on my behalf and was fighting me the whole way. So I recorded my meeting with her. That's when I started hey, I better start recording this stuff.
Okay.
And luckily I did, because then when I had fired her, because I realized her strategy was to try to look like she was defending me, but maybe actually get additional charges from statements from these officers. While I was trying to do a motion to suppress evidence, the police report, because of the Fourth Amendment violations and the civil rights violations outlined in their report. So with that, suppressed, then the case, the traffic infractions would have to get dropped.
Right.
And so, but they didn't, and I even appealed it, and then they denied my appeal in the higher court, said, because you didn't provide transcripts of the lower court proceedings. And I was like, well, it's not even an issue of what was said in the lower court. It's a matter of the Constitution and my rights and this and that. And the exclusionary rule, the fruit of the poisonous tree doctrine, etc. But they denied it and said I couldn't, I asked for more time, this and that. No, she was obviously in collusion with the prosecutor and stuff, and they were chilling my rights. And so then I set about trying to get transcripts. And that's when, I started scrutinizing the municipal court's online court recordings, because I hit them up for transcripts and they said, no, we don't provide those. You can go onto our website, go to your date, scroll down to your name on the docket, and then click on that, and it'll take you right to the timestamp of the audio, and you can listen to your court session, and you could transcribe it yourself or hire a transcriber. And that's when I was listening to after I had fired and expressed on the record concerns that my public defender was actively working against my interests and failing to protect my rights. And so I requested to represent myself. Mm-hmm. That was granted. She accepted her notice of withdrawal. And then later on, and I have this recorded, the judge or commissioner wanted me to fill out a motion for continuance form. And I was like, well, my strategy is I don't want a continuance, right? I'm ready for trial. Mm-hmm. I don't need to interview witnesses, do any of this. I just need to go over what they wrote down in their report and the legal implications behind it. Before he altered it too. He's got two different versions. And so at that point, I was not going to sign the form, right? And so the commissioner was getting a little frustrated because I think she is used to sticking to a script. And like once, it goes outside of that, it doesn't compute, right? So she's getting frustrated and she says, Miss Chappell, to my former attorney, Miss Chappell, is there any way you could just step in and explain this process to him and how it works? And instead of explaining jack snit to me, she goes to say, Your Honor, I believe the court can find good cause to overrule his objection. I'll fill out the form. I'm not going to sign it. He's not going to sign it. But I'll fill it out and submit it to the court. And I believe the court can find good cause to overrule his objection. I don't know if you've ever seen Law and Order or anything or know anything about how the courts work. But that was... I was like, what? Didn't I just fire you and tell you that she was actively working against me? You said, no, she's not, that she's a good attorney and this and that. And then what just happened? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills here. And so I that stood out in my mind. I was familiar with the recording that I took with my iPhone of her saying that. Mm-hmm. I complained that next day to the Bar Association about it. And when I got onto their website and was listening to their version of that, all of a sudden I was like, dude, is there something wrong with my computer? Like, did it go to sleep or something? And then I hear the judge's voice real quick. I'm like, wait, what? What's going on here? And I rewind a couple times. It takes me a minute to figure out there's missing audio from her. They cut out her speech of her offering to fill out the form and this and that. And, because that's an ethical violation on her part. Come to find out later, too, that, all of a sudden she's no longer a public defender for Anacortes Municipal Court or the city of Anacortes. And I was like, whoa, is that because I complained to the Bar Association? Like, did I get her fired? I doubt it, right? And one day looking up her name, she comes back online as the senior prosecutor in Whatcom County. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, that makes sense. That's why she was actively working against me and this and that, because she had one foot, in a prosecutorial role while still having another in a public defender role, right? And she didn't disclose that conflict. And furthermore, in my research of the record and stuff, back in that July, Sarah Hain, the commissioner, got into it with her because she was refusing to take an appointed case, stating that person had another case with a private attorney attached And that's a conflict or whatever. The judge is like, why is that a conflict? You could have a million different cases, a million different attorneys, this and that. She's like, well, I don't think it's appropriate to discuss on the record at this time with Your Honor and blah, blah, blah. And the Honor's like, that doesn't make any sense. In 40 years in the business, I've never heard of that. I'd have to hold you in contempt if you fail to state on the record, your reasons for this, or you take the appointment. And then she goes on to say, I had a lengthy conversation this morning with the court administrator, off the record, and I don't think it's appropriate to have a conversation on the record with Your Honor at this time. And Your Honor's like, okay. And then she says, furthermore, that the city is no longer appointing from the bench. And what that means in layman's terms to me, right, is she's the bench, and she's saying the city of Anacortes, the court administrator, is no longer giving me any new clients, new cases. Why, maybe you could explain this, but why would a public defender working for the city all of a sudden not be taking any new work unless they were transitioning to another appointment? Furthermore, in the grievance response with the WSBA, she responded to my accusations and stuff about the not disclosing the conflict and whatnot, and that was her motivation for getting with the court administrator to alter the record to cover her misconduct. And her response was that she was unaware of the prosecutorial or prosecutor job opening until December of 2024. On the 16th, when she applied, interviewed on the 20th, was hired the same day, and then she started work on the next month, January 15th or something of 2025. And I mean, I'm just a plumber, but I'm pretty sure that there's no way that she could clear her calendar or caseload and stuff like that in that short amount of time if that statement were true. If it was a spontaneous, unplanned, uncoordinated thing, that happened in December, and then all of a sudden, within 30 days, you're good to go. I don't buy it.
I hear you.
And this is a big problem, and I feel obligated to use my circumstances to do what I can to try to have some systemic impact litigation to better our judicial system, because I mean you got to walk a thin line to be sitting in that chair. Like you are held to higher standards than me or her or anybody in the general public. Like you swore an oath, right, to uphold the Constitution. Am I wrong?
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying, and I want to try to tackle it in kind of pieces.
Right, and so that's
definitely
why
with the things you told me, obviously there's concerns, but where I'm seeing it is our legal system is broken up between criminal and civil, right? You've got your criminal codes, like the ones that you've mentioned here, which
they've committed crimes
with crimes, right?
Serious crimes.
From a lot of what you have described to me, it fits more in the civil side of the law. Okay, what that means, that's where we're talking about your rights being violated, your attorneys not standing up for you and their best interests.
Absolutely.
That stuff is, while it is concerning, obviously, it fits the civil side of the law.
Absolutely.
As opposed to the criminal side of the law.
And that's why we filed civil lawsuits, right?
So that's
what I'm
my
here is for
recommendation
accountability for these crimes to not go unpunished.
Now, when we're talking about these court recordings, so I don't know all the specifics on, like, not every court records things and has it publicly available. It's not like the court is legally required to have these public recordings made available, right?
Yes, actually, they are.
So
100%.
If
100% they are.
If they have them offline or don't have them available, there's not a criminal charge we could investigate against them for not having.
I hear you, but the altering of, right? And then if you would examine the metadata, that you would see that, okay, why is the published date 4 days later than the scheduling date, when from her words, in writing about their policy for publishing court records is supposed to be at the end of that day. And I had to go all the way back to 2021, every single court session that they've had until 11/18/2021 to see another discrepancy, right, with the different unmatching dates. You listen to that one, and they violated this poor guy's rights over a disorderly conduct thing, and you could tell.
And so, like, what
you
you're
could tell
saying right now
where it was edited.
We're talking about violation of rights. Okay.
No. I'm talking about crimes like tampering with records. This has nothing to do with me or anything. It's just the fact that there's a court administrator somewhere breaking the law, committing a felony, and having no accountability for it. And I freaking heart accountability, So, and that's why I'm here, man. And because I know it's your job to process, to hold these people accountable. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is your wheelhouse right here for you to come in there and say and start knocking heads together
from where it looks
and investigate
from a criminal side of things.
Right.
Okay. What it sounds like is decisions were made in the courtroom. Okay. This went. You're not just talking about one public defender, one prosecutor, a judge. A decision was made in the judicial institution, right? And you did not like the outcome of it.
What decision is that?
Okay.
To tamper with court records?
I'm not talking about the tampering court record. I'm talking about you're saying that folks were, in terms of the situation of it, would have to be a public defender lies.
Tampers with court records. Alters court records.
Okay, but this is all. I'm just trying to figure out where the.
Would you like
where
to
the
hear
alteration of the court records that you're accusing of? How does that affect the outcome of what has happened?
Okay, it's a crime to tamper with court records, right? And these people have committed these crimes, and it's up to you to prosecute them.
What benefit did anyone have by altering these court records?
What does any criminal have benefiting from breaking the law?
Well, usually when you're breaking a law, you're doing it for some benefit.
But that's what I've explained, though, is because to cover up the misconduct by the public defender, right? Because she wanted to avoid accountability and scrutiny and stuff. That's why she conspired with the court administrator who, she's having illegal off the record conversations with to alter these court records, to literally cover her ass, to cover up misconduct.
What misconduct are we getting at?
Okay. So that is when she spoke out against me after I had terminated her and she had withdrawn from representing me. She cannot open her mouth in my court proceeding.
That's a decision that would be up to the judge at that point.
Right, and then the judge broke, screwed up too. And so then too, I went to the judge afterwards, once I discovered all this, requested a hearing, to discuss this, and get this all dealt with and on the record. And I was denied because I didn't have any standing or open cases in the court.
Well, this comes down to essentially a judge in his courtroom. He makes the rules of what he wants to do in his court, what he allows certain people to say and doesn't say. I mean, he can't go violating people's rights.
Exactly.
But there again, we're talking about rights violations. We're talking about civil side of the law.
But also laws being broken. Yes, criminal laws,
That's what I have yet to see anything you've said that shows a criminal law has been broken.
Okay, so if a court administrator, after a court record is recorded, right? If she goes in 4 days later and she edits it to obstruct
right, but you
justice.
You don't have anything showing that is the person that went in and obstructed this.
So that's where you come in, because you can come in and say, I need the metadata to see who logged in last, because I tried to request that information and I get stonewalled.
You're saying now this is a system that the recordings don't exist.
Well, they exist. They've been removed from public access. So Joe Schmo can't just go on there.
Do you have it?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, can I play that? I'll pause this recording.
I could hear your side, but I'm not going to hear.
No, you're going to hear the recording, their version and my recorded version.
How do you have two versions on the phone, I guess?
Okay, so when I was personally in court in person, I used my iPhone and recorded the court session on the podium right there.
Okay.
Right? They take their own recording through AV Capture. They publish it to their website, and in this case, 4 days later, republished it. What reason?
Okay.
I suspect tampering because...
but see, this recording isn't going to prove that this is the same conversation that happened here as happened here if they're different. Right?
Bro, give me a junior badge and I'll go, or give me a
like
a writ of mandamus or something, or court order, and I'll get you the metadata, and it's all exists, and that's where you come in. You can get the proof. I mean, I have the evidence.
Right, they're identical except for in one, that specific part is missing. Is it a gap?
It's
like a moment of silence, or
it's cut out. Yeah,
it's cut out.
And it is in no way transcribable. It's not accurate. You try to make a transcript from their version, can't do it. It doesn't make sense.
All the rest of it is.
But you listen to mine, and it's like, whoa.
Okay.
Then I call them out on it, and what do? They remove all their court records and then cancel their subscription.
Right. It's like they wouldn't be taking it out if they weren't trying to hide or cover something up.
Furthermore, I always get referred now to her voicemail. She never returns my calls, the administrator. When I go there in person, she's in a meeting. Every time.
Okay. Well, what I can do, I can take everything that you told me, and I can refer it to the folks that run these type of cases. Okay. From what you've told me, I just don't want to get your hopes up. I don't think there's much for us to investigate here. Okay. Not saying it's not going to happen. I'm going to send it off to.
How can you make that determination at this point in time?
Because I don't think anything you've described is meeting the threshold of
tampering with court records is not a crime to you. That's excusable.
I don't think there's anything you've shown that says we can say someone has tampered with it. Well,
allow me to continue. I'll show, and upon request, I can show you all this stuff.
Well, you can show me 2 different recordings that say different things.
Okay. Yeah.
But that isn't proving at this point of what I'm going to take everything that you gave me, and I'm going to send it out.
How about this? Could we make a phone call to the court administrator and ask for the metadata regarding this recording?
You can do that. You can try. They don't have to. Just because we're the FBI, we can't.
Well, I think you might have a little bit more luck than me,
And I will take everything you've got and give it to the folks who investigate these kind of cases, and they can make a decision based on what you've got.
Okay. Well, so how do I then, if you guys aren't going to do your due diligence to gather any information or evidence to, corroborate my claims?
Well, so that is what.
How then can I get that to them?
We'll do that.
Okay, so I can have a meeting with them, because I want to look them in the face, because I don't get anywhere over the phone. I don't get anywhere through emails or online complaint forms. I get shut down and denied, and this is a serious problem. It's the integrity of our court records. I don't know if you understand the gravity of that, but I sure do.
Okay, I can take everything you got and send it off to those folks. They're going to look at it, and they will make a determination on if it's something that we can investigate.
Okay. All right. Well,
I
guess that's good enough for today, and
playing if you have it available.
Well, and I'm not going to, this isn't going away. So I can accept that for now.
Okay. I need to get some information from you?
Absolutely.
And I'll put in there that you would like to be contacted.
Would you like to hear the 2 different versions?
I don't need to hear it right now, just because I'm not going to be able to do anything with it.
Yeah, but are you not curious?
I just don't. It's not going to help me be able to help you guys today.
Right. No. But like as a public servant, though, you're not curious. You're not curious.
I mean, it's not going to help me help you guys. All I care about right now is getting what I can help to help you guys. Okay? So I'm going to take this information.
Well, it would help me. It would help me if you heard this. It would mean a lot to me and her, and I think.
I mean, you have to play the whole thing from start.
No, it's a small. Yeah, it's a small clip. Yeah. It's a clip of this edited portion and then my version.
Exactly, but what I'm trying to tell you is me listening to that.
You don't care.
It's not that I don't care. It's that there's no way for me to listen to it and be able to say.
Nope, I just want you to listen to it, and you don't even have to offer an opinion. Just hear it for yourself.
Yeah, I need to get some information from you so I can put that in, and they can contact you. So I need to get your name, full name.
Yeah, it's David Spidell, middle name Douglas.
Spidell?
Yeah, Speidel.
Okay, and what is your date of birth, Mr. Spidell?
5/31/86.